Welcome to Garage Sales Unhinged.
where the characters are as quirky as the finds.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Jake.
Join us as we dive into the wild world of garage sales, yard sales, estate sales, and anywhere secondhand sales are happening.
From bizarre bargains to hilarious haggles.
You won't believe the stories we've got lined up.
Let's get unhinged.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Garage Sales Unhinged, the podcast where we're supposed to talk about the secondhand sales market, but we kind of just tell like all the childhood trauma from our lives and funny stories.
We really do. It just becomes like a walk down memory lane, which that's just gonna be like, I think that's a sign of our generation, is that we use the podcast medium. It's like it's our oral history.
Don't pay for therapy, start a podcast.
Right.
Anyway, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Julie. That's my bro, Jake.
Hi.
And
How are you?
I'm sorry?
How are you?
Listen, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So, but real quick, everybody listening in podcast land can't see you, but they can hear you. And the sound you guys are hearing is the wish of Julie's curls as she swings her head about in neck-breaking fashion, a la shampoo commercials. Julie, you got a serious haircut.
I didn't, but thanks for thinking I did.
No, you got a serious haircut. You must be going through some emotional distress. You okay?
No, so it's funny. Probably back in maybe it's not funny. Again, we're talking about trauma. This is a triggering episode for folks. Probably in October, I had bangs cut. And now I'm trying to get them to grow out. So this is just a visual testament to a really bad decision. So I did get my hair trimmed. I had about an inch taken off the bottom, but all I'm trying to do is have the bottom of my hair meet up with my bangs so people can't tell that my bangs are growing out.
You just get a meat in the middle. Let the top grow. Cut the bottom short. That way, I just have an equator of hair around the middle of my head.
We know,
no one will notice.
In Mean Girls, you always have the girl that was like trying to make fetch happen. And it's like, no, fetch is not going to happen. Someone's going to walk up to me and be like, Julie, bowl cuts, not going to happen. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. They're bangs.
Bowl cuts, there's a lot that has come back in bad ways, as far as like prior decades of fashion and style and everything like that. You got, your big chunky sneakers, you've got shoulder pads, mullets. I haven't seen the bowl cut make a resurgence. There's probably a good reason for that.
So maybe, okay, let's trauma dump a little bit. Whenever I was younger, our dad had us for a very long weekend. Mom was out traveling. And I, at the time,
one of Mom's many booze trips. Yes.
So I had really long hair. I was probably 5, 6, 7 years old, had really long hair. And our father did not like brushing my hair because I would cry whenever, all the tangles in it.
Yeah.
So he stopped at Walmart and bought me a ball cap for the weekend. And that's how he did my hair for the weekend.
Awesome.
So whenever our mother got back, she was like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Well, she just started crying." Like, and here's the thing now, if I cry in front of our dad today, he's like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Don't give me a ball cap, man. Yeah. Like, I need tens of millions of dollars."
I recognize the manipulation going on here.
All this to say, it has nothing to do with what I want to talk about today.
No, but that's where the juice is, man. Like you start these things off and you start going. You don't know the paths it's going to take you down and what traumas it will, unearth.
This is also like clearly no one can blackmail me because I'm just gonna say it out loud.
Sharing it. That's right. They can't hurt me if I just volunteer all the hurtful stuff.
It's also, this is exhibit A as to why I will never run for political office because I'll just say everything.
Hey, no one can mug me. I threw my wallet into the gully over there. So that shows them. I'm no victim.
Okay, so what I actually wanted to talk about today, was my weekend of estate selling. So
Ooh.
I went to several estate sales and I got some insider tips from somebody that worked at one of the estate sales.
Ooh, like how to approach these things?
This person was a wealth of knowledge, and the reason why I'm not gonna say their name and I'm gonna try really hard not to say their gender is that I do not wanna get this person in trouble because
Gotcha.
they said, "Do not repeat what I'm about to tell you." Now, I wanna also say I told this person that I had a podcast on what we talked about, and they were like, "Oh, well, did you know?" And then, like, went down a whole laundry list of stuff, and I was like, "Pretty sure you weren't supposed to tell me any of that." And they were like, "Yeah, don't say anything to people." And I'm like, "Mhm, okay."
Well, okay. Well, as long as you don't identify, also, we'll be really careful. You're not going to identify anybody. You are abiding by the garage sale person's code of ethics.
I'm really I am embodying the journalist inside of me.
Mm.
Like, I'm gonna need a court order in order to say who this person was. Also, we did not exchange names. I don't actually know their name,
That helps. That definitely helps.
but I'm also not gonna describe what they look like.
If you don't know the name of your source, you can't give them up. It's the same principle as just chucking your wallet down the street. That way, no one can take it from you.
Exactly, exactly. Um, okay, so the first estate sale. Okay, for people that are listening, I'm going to get my story together eventually. I know I'm kind of circling the drain on this. I started thinking about my weekend of estate sales. I also went to garage sales. I also did some thrift stores. But today we're just talking about the estate sales I went to. I started planning this on Wednesday. And I went to a website called garagesalefinder.com.
Okay.
Um, now, also in my city, if you're going to have a garage sale, a yard sale, you have to pull a permit. The state sales also have to do the same. So in my city has a web page for garage sale search. So as I'm looking at garage sale finder, and that also listed some estate sales, I also looked at garage sale search and it gave me additional things because garagesalefinder.com, you have to actually go in and post your sale. For the city, it's just listing out the people that pulled a permit for that time period that I'm looking for. So I may find some additional sales that people did not post on this other website.
Okay, so it's a like yeah, a requirement to hold a sale, but it also serves as a kind of a repository
Correct.
for anyone looking for, a way to spend 12 bucks on a weekend.
Yeah. And honestly, let's see, at the state sales that I went to, I spent,
Yeah, you have a grand total. What would you
yeah, I
what's the
spent,
damage?
I think I spent $60.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But let me tell you what I got.
All
Okay.
right.
Well, hold on. Before we get into that, I thought I was gonna
Yeah,
follow an
sorry.
outline.
I'm like like pushing you further down the board game than you need to be right now. So as you would like to tell the story, please go ahead.
Yeah, and also I'm gonna summarize that up. Shut up, Jacob. So, the first estate sale I went to was actually the company that I bought your Christmas gift at.
Okay.
And, again, they have the way that they work is that they have a consignment shop, a brick and mortar store that, you can go to, you can look at some really nice things that they have there. But then they also have several items that do not sell at estate sales. They bring it back to their storage unit, and then they sell it from that storage unit. So I actually went to their storage unit, place.
Cool.
And I was on a mission this weekend. So I am doing a lot of public speaking engagements, and I want some nice conference worthy clothes, some statement pieces, accessories, things like that to wear on stage, to wear, at these public speaking venues. Um, but I also don't want to break the bank by going to a major department store. And I don't want to do fast fashion because I want these things to last longer than a season. So I kind of went in with the purpose. whenever I went to the place where I bought your Christmas gift, they called it a liquidation sale. They were trying to get rid of a lot of items. So the different rooms that they had, one room was 80% off, the other two rooms were 50% off. So like if you found something, it was a good day to purchase stuff.
Yeah.
So from them, I bought a pair of these, it's all costume jewelry, but this pair of green emerald fun earrings, um, a statement necklace, a blue and white statement necklace. And I know Jacob's laughing at me. A
No, I'm
statement.
sorry. I don't know that I've ever heard the term statement necklace. It sounds like you're just wearing a chalkboard around your neck and it has a swear word written on it. I don't know, like it's a statement necklace.
You know, some fashion person out there is going to be like, "That's a great idea. I'm going to
Right.
do it."
Finally,
Um,
a slur that I didn't say, you just saw.
Are you planning a garage sale, yard sale, or estate sale and need some help? Look no further than Garage Sale Supply. They provide top-notch resources and expert advice to help you host the perfect sale. From pricing tips to promotional strategies, they've got you covered. Visit garagesalesupply.com and make your next sale a success.
um, and then I also bought a Ralph Lauren button-up shirt, brand new. Um, Also everything that I bought this weekend, I will be taking to the dry cleaners and having them clean it appropriately. But brand new, fits great, nothing to be tailored. It's awesome. And then I bought this, and if anyone wants to see these items, they're going to be on our Instagram at Garage Sales Unhinged. Um, I bought this vintage, I'm going to say it's probably from the 80s, which is weird to think that that's vintage,
No,
but
it's not. It's still
and
funny.
I'm never going to wear these two items together, but it's a matching set where it's a long skirt and then it has like a jacket, that a little short jacket that zips up. The they're gold with a black sheer overlay and then this really intricate like vine, like plant vine beading on it with yellow embroidered flowers all over it.
Whoa.
And I'm looking at
That's-
this, I'm going, that has to be hand done
Yeah.
because it's so intricate. And I essentially bought 3 items for 3 different wardrobes that I could have outfits. So I was super excited, and also my poor husband, I came home from all these estate sales, I'm like, "Look what I got," and I did, like, a fashion show for him, and he's just like, I have a business call," and I'm like, "But look at this." So anyway, I found those 3 items, clothing items, and the 2 jewelry pieces from this place. It was really cool, and it was great to run into those folks again. Their business is booming, but they also have more things coming in, which is why they were trying to clear out some of the stuff that they had at that weekend. But there, I bought it in the 80% off room, and so for these 5 items in total, 2 pieces of jewelry, the 3 clothing items, I spent $20.
Whoa. So what if you had to ballpark what you would have paid retail for all of these things put together, what do you think it might have been?
I actually think retail, the earrings would have been $20.
Just on their own.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how much a Ralph Lauren dress shirt is, but it's
It's not
definitely more than
$20.
20.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the vintage dress and jacket and skirt, that I actually pulled it up because I wanted to see what this brand was and all that stuff. And it starts at like $90 and then goes
Oh,
up. Now, granted, I don't think they make clothing anymore, so everything that they have is going to be secondhand. But yeah, so like it's good quality stuff. I'm super excited about it.
I'm really interested to hear too that this shop your the first place you hit, you said is doing really great.
Yeah.
Their business is really ticking up. Could
Yes.
they speak to that at all?
So they asked, "Hey, did you mention us in your last podcast?" And it's that Christmas episode where we're exchanging gifts. And I said, "I
And I
sure
hope you
did."
and you didn't listen to it.
Well, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, they've actually had a lot more people going into their store since then." Now,
Interesting.
I'm not going to say it's all us, but um or am I? No, I'm not going to say it's all us. They also do a really good job of marketing
Yeah.
their stuff. So their storage units are essentially open 7 days a week. And so again, if someone is a new home buyer or a first time renter, don't go and buy the brand new stuff. You can go to especially an estate sale company like this where it's not at the actual estate sale event itself. It's afterwards. They will still cut you a bargain if you want to negotiate with them and all that stuff. But you can get some really good things there that are good quality and you just, wipe off the dust. It's still good. So they had weights up. Now, granted, I was looking for clothes. They had also ladies and young women out there that are maybe looking for homecoming dresses, prom dresses. There are a ton of estate sales that have those dresses there. So don't go and spend hundreds of dollars to find one. You can spend $10 to $30 at these sales and get you a really nice ball gown for a prom, a homecoming, something like that. So that was the first one. I went to that one on Friday. Um, yeah, I got out of the house, went and did that.
It's
And
probably a blur. You hit like how many places did you hit total? I'm sorry.
so for estate sales, I did 3.
Okay. Well
Yeah.
then no, then the blur you're experiencing is probably related to pharmaceuticals or something like that. So let's help you along.
You said blur. I didn't say blur. Um, so that was the first one. I did that one on Friday. And again, people thinking about like how much time. Granted, I'm going through clothes, and that does take some time to go through because
Yeah.
they don't necessarily put them by size or anything like that. And I probably spent maybe 20 to 30 minutes there looking for stuff. Um, Now on Saturday, I hit up 2 estate sales. The first one I went to, it was a bust because I get there and there's hardly anything left. It uh started at 8 a.m., I think.
Ooh.
No, sorry, all the estate sales started Friday. Oh, I went to all of them on
Okay, so
Friday.
you were like on the second day when things might have been like 50% off or something.
Now for the 2 estate sales that I went to, they both started on Friday. So they were
Gotcha.
just Friday and Saturday. Estate sales, for those that have never been or haven't been to one in a while, a company comes into a house, they price everything out, they essentially run the whole show for that family, and you have staff. You have a bunch of staff there that's helping monitor everything, price stuff, move things out of the house, yada, yada, yada. One of the things I did notice about each of the estate sales that I went to that was at someone's home is that they have caution tape down on like wherever your step is.
Right.
So this is another thing that if someone decides to host their own estate sale, that's another thing for people to realize. If you're going to have an estate sale, you do not have to hire a company. You can actually
Yeah,
do
you
your
can
own
run it
estate
yourself.
sale.
Right.
But whenever you have someone coming into your home, if you have steps anywhere, definitely put down some of those things of like caution, step, because we live in a litigious society and people will sue you for stupid reasons. So again, as you're walking in, I'm like, oh yes, this is definitely done by a professional company. They have everything in place. This and you and I
And
talked to sorry.
I feel like that kind of speaks to the business model of the first place you hit on Friday.
Yeah.
Even more so is like, yeah, if you do want to like um remove that risk, or this stuff that needs to be sold is nowhere near your home. Uh, these companies do that, and they can do it in their own space, so that you don't have to worry about somebody stumbling on an unseen step, and suddenly you got this whole other problem to have to deal with in court, and all you
Yeah.
wanted to do is get rid of this china that no one was going to use. But yeah, so it's another that's like another layer of service that companies like that are providing.
Yes.
But you said the first one was a bust because it had been already picked over.
Well, yes and no. So what happened was um they had a sign up front, they have state sale this way and I'm walking up to it and it said online bidding stopped on Friday.
Ooh.
So they probably had some really good items from
Yeah.
this family. but they already sold them online and they were not in the house.
Yeah.
So this estate sale opened up at 8 a.m. I was there at probably 8:12.
Oh man, you had like done your homework. You were ready to like get
Oh
the
yeah.
bargains. Oh man.
But what okay, so now the race is on. So if you decide to go estate selling on the weekend, it is a freaking race. So what happens is I go in, I know automatically like I'm looking for clothes. If you whenever you know that you're going in to look for clothes, you go straight to the closets because hey, that's where people keep clothes. Shocker.
Great tip.
Um, yeah. And and they didn't really have anything worthy to look at in there. Um, I did go through the rest of the house to see like what else is there. So a couple of items of note you can definitely buy at a estate sale. A crap ton of crafts, paints, beads, stamps, um, scrapbooking material, colored pencils, like everything. So for parents, for families, maybe teachers that are going, hey, I need
Mhm.
school supplies. Go to an estate sale, negotiate with them, get that stuff for pennies.
Yeah.
And then you have, essentially a year's worth of supply. Because the amount of crafts that I saw in this one house probably filled up 3 storage bins, like large storage bins.
Wow. And
And I'm like,
honestly, that's like not even if you're a teacher, but is there a teacher in your life? Is is there a birthday coming up? It does the teacher at your kid's school need anything? Or like, hey, you want to just help an underpaid teacher out? There you go.
yeah.
And it won't really cost you very much at all. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many crafts there, and also, like, if anyone likes quilting, there was tons of fabric that they were selling. So, a lot of times, especially if an estate sells from an older home, older couple, or older person, they have those items in abundance, and maybe they can't take it with them, or they've already passed, and then you definitely can't take it with you. And they have all those items there.
Not true. I have it in my will that I want to be buried with my quilting supplies.
You're gonna be dead. No one, I'm not putting it in there.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, so
Some real Tutankhamun's tomb type stuff, you know? In 500 years, they wonder, what does it mean that he was entombed with 8,000 cubic yards of yarn?
he really liked taffeta. Um, Now I will say the other thing I'm always shocked by some of the stuff that you can find at estate sales, but one of them was it looked like a brand new ladder that
Mm.
they were selling. And I'm going at every single place that I went this weekend, they were all selling some type of outdoor plants, planter containers, tools, this brand new ladder. And I'm going, if I needed a ladder, that would have been a gold. I didn't need a ladder. I wasn't
Right.
anyway. Um, so right before I left, in the very back room of this house, they had I'm gonna call it the board game room. And I actually heard 2 gentlemen in there making a deal because
Okay.
apparently one of them, I think they were getting like a Lego item. And one of them was like, "Oh, I already have that one. I don't need this one. I really need this other thing." And the guy was like, "Hey, I'll make a swap with you."
Really? You've got
Yeah,
to
and so
swap in
like
the wild.
yes, and so what I realized, so even though this event opened at 8 and I was there at 8:12, the vast majority of people in the house were resellers and collectors.
Hmm.
So whenever you go to an estate sale, whenever it first opens, I'm going to say 90% of the people that go through there are reselling those items or collectors, and they're there for a specific reason.
So everybody's there to make a buck at like
Yes.
to pass the savings on to the no one.
Yes.
Okay.
So, anyway, I left that estate sale. Like I said, it was a bust. There wasn't tons of stuff there. Um, they also through the garagesalefinder.com, that estate sale was listed on there. They also will post some of the pictures of things that they are going to sell, which is really great for that type of website, the garagesalefinder.com, because whenever you can post items that you're looking to sell, then you bring in the right people that want to try to find that stuff. And it's not just estate sales. If people are having a garage sale, a yard sale, do the same thing with your, especially your big ticket items. Put those items on there because that's going to generate interest for potential buyers.
I like that. I mean, I get like the foundation of that website is the city's requirement that you get a permit to hold these sales. To me, that speaks to the existence of sales that aren't permitted. And I really like to think of that like bootleg operation. It's got to be, you know, you're here, you got the Lego stuff over here, you got grandma's quilting stuff over there, and you're trying to sell this stuff. Everything's got a sticker on it. Oh no, the police roll up and you pull a candlestick that's labeled for 15 cents and everything just rotates. And no, we're just having an orgy. It's fine.
You need a permit for an orgy,
No,
sir.
right.
Also, I want to clarify, Garage Sale Finder is not part of the city permit website. So my city just has a separate page that is about everyone that's pulled a permit to sell that weekend. And I recommend people, like, if your city requires you to have a permit pulled, check their listing as well as checking Garage Sale Finder. The city website isn't great because it doesn't have pictures. It just has an address. But Garage Sale Finder actually has pictures that you can look at stuff. It also allows people to put in more details about their sales. So, like Garage Sale Finder, it'll tell you like if the sale starts at 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. or, whatever it may be. Okay. So that's my second estate sale that I went to. It was a bust. And then cannonball run it over to the next one. So
Okay.
now, and the next one I'm going to, it also opened up at 8. So I'd get there probably about, I don't know, 8:35, 8:30, and gold mine of clothes.
Okay.
So at this estate sale, I ended up spending, um, maybe I have the wrong, I don't know. I spent somewhere between $30 and $40
Oh, a total max.
total.
Okay.
I got a very fun costume jewelry pearl necklace that has a really unique like flower clasp on it. Here's the thing about costume jewelry. A lot of times people are like, oh, it's costume jewelry. It's not worth anything. This one is actually stamped. It's from Mode Art. They are a company that actually makes costume jewelry. The stamp on the back of it tells me that this piece was made after 1955 because a stamp is copyrighted and they got their copyright in 1955. And I know our listeners are going, Julie did research. Yes, I did. Thanks for asking. So in this piece, I'm going to say was probably made 70s, 80s. But a lot of their jewelry pieces can go for thousands of dollars. This one, resell probably around 30 to $50, but I got it for $5.
Oh, cool. And I really do like that you bought some stuff, you brought it home, and then you found ways to investigate it.
Well,
And
so
the stuff you find out, it's kind of like you're finding a message in a bottle. You bought this thing that had some previous life, and the more you find out about it, you're like, okay, here's what it actually is.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm not a reseller. I'm not a collector. I buy things that I like, and then I come home and inspect it, and I'm like, oh wait, I actually do like this thing.
But honestly, that's so cool though. It's like you're not doing it for as any kind of enterprise. You're not doing it to, monetize anything. You're actually just in the market for the stuff.
Yeah.
And that's like, yeah. Well,
Well,
it's not a hustle. This is just
but for some people, it is a hustle. That's just
I
not
get
what mine
that. That's
is.
cool. That's fine. It's just but like the research you did to find out about like even this piece of jewelry you're talking about, it just helps you get more enamored with it. It's
Yeah,
not so that you can go, okay, now I know how much to, you know, charge over what I paid for it. You're just
exactly.
wanting to find out more about the thing and have more of a relationship with your choices. That's really cool.
Yeah. Now, this is the first day of this estate sale. They had a ton of clothes, and a lot of the clothes fit me. So I was super excited about going through. They had They had 2 closets full of women's clothes, and then they actually had a whole room of clothes on display. Um, they had a lot of women's suits, and not just, like, generic women's suits. They had Armani suits up there.
Wow.
Yeah, so, again, for people that, you think of secondhand sales market, and some people are going, "Oh, I'd never buy something secondhand." For, again, people on a budget of going, "Yeah, I wanna buy an Armani suit," and going to a retail store may not pan out for you. If you go to an estate sale and it's the right size for you, you get it. So, I couldn't even tell you, I probably got 8 to 10 items there. Um, Pants, blouses, jackets, all sorts of stuff. Now, again, I'm gonna take all of it. I came home, tried it all on. It fits great. I could have tried it there. It's just weird to be trying on something at an estate sale.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird feeling. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go into the stranger's home and take my pants off. It's fine.
Um, I will say one of the items I tried on, it fits great. The only thing is that the sleeves are too long. So for people that do this regularly, and I'm gonna start doing it because now I'm like really into the secondhand sales market. I'm gonna get it dry cleaned and then I'm gonna take it to my tailor. And so I spent $5 on this nice blazer, and then I'm gonna take it to my tailor. They're gonna be able to hem it up for me to the right length. So in total, I might spend $25 on something where retail I would have spent 60 bucks.
Yeah.
So I think looking at it from that standpoint, so if you find something of going, "Oh, it looks great, but I don't really like how it fits this way." If you can find a good tailor, that just really expands the type of clothes that you can purchase. And also finding a good tailor going, "Hey, I want to connect these 2 pieces of clothing together," and they can be creative with you. Especially like for me, while I have a sewing machine, I am not gonna sew clothes together or try to make clothes. Um, but yeah, so it was a nice haul of things that I was looking for going to this estate sale. A couple things on each of the estate sales that I went to that was in someone's home. Yes, they all had the caution tape up on steps and stuff like that. But also they had the door signs on the doors that they did not want people to go into that said it in English and Spanish.
Hmm.
So know the market that you're in. We're in
Hmm.
Texas, so having it in Spanish is also important. Um, Also, because I was at these estate sales as soon as they opened, they were not going to give me a deal on stuff because they were like, either you can pay the listed price, which again was a lot cheaper than me buying retail.
Totally still a bargain. Yeah.
Or, you can wait until later if we drop our prices to see if you can get it then, but then I might not be able to get it.
Right.
I also, okay, I'm going to say another thing that I got, and I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but I bought a 1,000-piece puzzle.
Okay. Cool.
And I know that I got a deal on it because I bought the same brand of puzzle a couple weeks ago and finished that puzzle. And as much as like I love puzzles, I love puzzling, call me a nerd, I don't care. Um, I also curse a lot at the puzzles because I just want them to be easier, and I don't know why I keep doing 1,000-piece puzzles. But if there's not 1,000 pieces in this one, someone's gonna die. Like,
Right. That is the risk you take in buying a secondhand puzzle.
yeah, so when I was checking out, I asked the lady, I was like, "So is this one, does it actually have 1,000 pieces in it?" And she laughed and she's like, "You hope so." It's like, "Oh, man."
There's no way they could pay me enough money to open each of these puzzle boxes and count each piece.
Especially I bought it for $6, and if you bought this puzzle brand new off of Amazon, because that's where I bought mine, it's like 15 to 20 bucks. So like, hey, I spent, half price for it. And if it's 999 pieces, that's going to be a whole podcast episode where I am going to rage. um, so anyway, I'm going to give the insider tips that I got from my person at the state sale.
Hmm.
And what they said is that um they said for whatever reason that weekend, the company that they worked for, it was their liquidation weekend. They were trying to get rid of everything in all of the sales that they were doing for the weekend.
Okay.
And they said, if you come back tomorrow, so this was Friday, and they said, if you come back on Saturday, and I think the sale ended at 5 or something like that. And they said, if you are around there about 3:30, 3:45, the manager previously, whenever they had one of these weekends, the manager comes through and whoever's in the house, they say, take whatever you want. It's free.
Oh, wow.
Because what happens is if they don't sell stuff and if they don't have a storage facility, if they don't have a brick and mortar store where they sell things that don't sell at estate sales, they throw it away.
Ooh.
And so what is the estate sale company will then have to do is that they then have to pay their staff that's there the time to clear stuff out, throw it away. And if they can just give it away, it's actually better for their business than trying to hold on to it and sell it later.
So it goes from being a liquidation sale to a fire sale to
Just take
whatever. Yeah.
it.
Whatever
Now
the other
comes into
elements might be.
it comes into like a highway robbery sale. So um
But you do run the risk at that point. It's like, oh man, all that's left are like boxes and boxes of pipe cleaners. But
it could be that. The other thing is I think of like, so you are like, hey, I want that Armani suit. I'm going to wait until they say everything's free. That Armani suit's not going to be
oh
there.
no, not a chance.
Especially someone who does resell for clothing. If I was in the resale market and if I could get that knocked down even further, then that means, hey, I can increase my profits of me reselling it. But I think of people like if they had potted plants in the back, or let's say they had pots for plants, but maybe they were chipped or something like that. And let's say I was an artist and I wanted to create mosaics. And if they said, hey, take whatever's left, then great. I just got a bunch of materials from a mosaic project or, whatever I wanted to create with something. So, or you could have a puzzle that has 999 pieces in it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
So you're saying like the real choice windows of opportunity are at the very start of a sale when it is just replete with all the stuff, and the very end of a sale when they might be very desperate and have severe markdowns, or hey, if you can carry it out of here, is yours.
take it. Yep. Yeah. The other thing is too, so this weekend I went to estate sales, I went to garage sales, I went to thrift stores. Now I have conversations with everyone in these places, right? And with my contact at the estate sale, they shared with me of other sales that were going on that, hey, you should go look at this. They were sharing with me of thrift stores that they like to go to for high-end items.
Oh,
And again, um, for people that like secondhand sales, they like thrifting, get to know the people that work in this world because they will give you the insider secrets on stuff. So it was a really interesting conversation I had with this person. Um, they were buying some stuff from the sale for themselves and like running it out to their car, and they were like, "Well, it's my last day, so whatever." I think that's probably why they
yeah.
were giving me insights into stuff. Um, and also like, hey, I shared with them that we have a podcast and they're like, oh, well, have you gone to this store? Have you gone to that store? I'm like, I have not. Well, did you know that we do this? And she's like, well, now I just told you the gender, but they were like, hey, you should look at this. You should look at that. I'm going, I had no idea. I had no clue. And then also while I was at the second estate sale, there's people from the other estate sale I was at showed up. And that's how I knew who the resellers were and the collectors were, because they come in and they're looking specifically for specific board games, Legos. Somebody was looking for vinyls and CDs. Um, the clothing resellers hadn't shown up yet, which is why I was able to get my arms wrapped around stuff. But
Just
gold
with
mine,
and these folks are showing up looking for that stuff with the express purpose of reselling it. So they
yeah,
they know their niche. I do vinyls, and so they just go for those things. Otherwise, they're not interested in the stuff.
yeah. And a lot of times they will walk into a sale and they find someone who works there and said, "Hey, do you have any vinyls?" They don't even look at anything else.
Right.
And because the person that's working there will say, "Yeah, it's in that room or it's out in the garage or whatever," and they go straight for it, and then they start inspecting stuff right
Because
then. So
like the reality is, in a lot of ways, time is money.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go and find a new vinyl any old time at Target or whatever. But in this world, like you want to get there like 8 a.m. sharp because if you're not going to get that, then the next reseller guy or just some collector or some person that actually wants to enjoy these things is going to get there. And so, yeah.
Well, and especially, I have friends that are professional resellers. They get there
Mhm.
before the sale even opens, and so you may have a line of people outside of a home,
Okay.
especially if they know, "Hey, I know that this house has XYZ collector items or clothing or shoes or whatever it may be," and those resellers will go in and grab the stuff that they want before anyone else gets in there. Like, if the
How
sale
is that
starts
allowed? That seems like it's not fair.
but also, like, again, if you're friends with the people that run estate sales, they have a list of people that they'll call and be like, "Hey, Jim, we have these vinyls. The sale opens up at 8 a.m. You should be here." And if they have 5 people that they know that are vinyl collectors,
Yeah.
they're going to call all 5 of them because their goal is to get stuff sold and out of the house as quickly as possible.
So the tip I'm taking from that is go to these things and like engage with people in a genuine way, but also with a ear out for networking a little bit.
Oh, very much so. Very
Like
much.
if they see you as a guaranteed sell on these items, then they're probably going to give you the down low and more likely to move this material with you.
At the beginning of this episode, I was like, "Hey, I did a cannonball run from one estate sale to the next."
Right.
That is the modern day cannonball run. And for
Yeah.
people that don't know what cannonball run is, shame on you for being young. Um, but Cannonball Run was a movie from the 1981, had Burt Reynolds in it and Dom
Dom
DeLuise.
DeLuise. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
And one of the Cannonball Runs movie, one of the Cannons Ball Run movies, was an early American film appearance by Jackie Chan.
yes,
Yeah.
very true. It also had Sammy Davis Jr. in it, Roger Moore, Dean Martin.
Back when you could have an ensemble cast like that, it would make no sense. Everybody's on cocaine and having a great time. Uh,
Much like estate sales. No, I'm kidding. I don't know if people are on cocaine at estate sales. Um, but okay, I'm like,
the
man, if
resale market on this cocaine, Julie.
I'm like, man, if you actually redid Cannonball Run today, it would it would be like the estate sales of like where people are racing to. Because again, for the resellers, the collectors of the world of going, yeah, I want to go hurry up and get that bargain. It is, it's funny because you see the same people at all these different sales and they are in a mad dash to get to it.
I really like this concept. This sounds like a Christopher Guest kind of comedy.
Yeah.
The guy that did Spinal Tap and Best in Show. That's kind of what it sounds like. I'm gonna get cracking on that. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it was a really interesting weekend. I got a lot of good insights from folks. I would say that I had a contact at an estate sale company, but they are no longer there. So, um, but I would say for people that want to start collecting or want to start reselling, continuously going to the estate sales, get to know the staff there, give them your information and say, "Hey, I'm always looking for XYZ type of things. Give me a call if you have a sale coming up that has those things. I'll buy everything you have of it." Because again, knowing how an estate sale company functions, they want to sell stuff as high as possible, as quickly as possible, and get it out the door.
Oof. Sounds like you had a whirlwind couple of days.
It was a fun weekend of uh one, I had cash on hand because I won a square in the Super Bowl. Uh
Really?
yeah. I didn't go to a Super Bowl party, but my husband did. And so he was like, "Hey, pick some squares." And I picked squares and he came home and he like threw money at me. He's like, "You won." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Okay."
You didn't even show up. Awesome.
Um, but yeah, lots of good things at estate sales. If I was in the market for dishes, for artwork, you know me, I love art. So it was really hard for me not to purchase anything I did not need at the moment. I was also I'm trying to find some lamps to go on our mantle in our living room. And online, I saw them, and I thought it was 2 gold horse heads with, like, a white shade. I'm going, "That is gaudy, and I love it, and I want that in my living room." And
Yeah.
then whenever I got to the estate sale and I was like, "Oh, this is them," and I looked at it, it was like, it wasn't a horse head, it was a unicorn head. I
Oh
was like,
man,
"I can't do a unicorn."
that's too much.
I was telling her mom about it, and she was like, "I thought definitely you would have gotten a unicorn." I was like, "Mom, it's like you don't even know me. I want a real unicorn."
That's right. I'm not a child. I want, I wanted this gaudy horse thing.
Uh, and of course, my loving husband, I'd send him a picture of the lamb. I was like, "Hey, are you in?" I know by this time of the day, he's just like, he just wrote me back, "Sure." He's like not even fighting with me anymore about it, but I didn't get him.
Well, you did the same principle as with the closing of the estate sale. You bugged him at the very end of the day, where he's just like, everything's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Same tip when it comes to your relationships. Just ask for the thing at the end of the day. Yeah, fine.
But yeah, it was fun. And also I think the second so here's the other thing, the second estate sale, they had music playing. So they actually had shopping music playing. And for anyone that doesn't know what shopping music is, if you go on
Worship
Spotify,
music.
yeah, you didn't know this? This is
No.
psychology. Um, so there's actual certain songs that encourage people to shop and buy. And they're upbeat songs, they're songs that people know, like it's a trendy pop song. If you go to Spotify, you can actually find playlists that is shopping songs.
Oh no.
And the the last estate sale I went to, they had this music playing in kind of the main room of the house. They had bags set up, so after you finish purchasing things, you could put things into bags. Also, if you bought clothes that came on hangers, they sent you home with all the hangers because they didn't want them. They also had staff there, and every staff member had a name tag. So if you had questions, you could talk to them and get all that stuff done. So I think the second in-house estate sale I went to was actually really well run and very organized. So kudos to them.
So I'm really intrigued by this idea of the shopping music and that Spotify has curated um, a playlist for these things. And I guess if I had to guess, it's all these tracks are all generally pop adjacent, upbeat,
Yes.
recent stuff. I swear there was a period where you couldn't go into a retail environment and not hear happy by whoever did happy.
Pharrell Williams did happy.
Yeah.
Um, I think also like you can go and Google what like shopping music is, but like Journey's "Don't Stop Believing."
Huh.
Because if you think about it, it's like, man, it's a good song, gets you going, makes you happy. Don't stop. No, it's going to turn into a singing podcast, and people are going to be like, "No, Julie, don't do that."
But this is interesting to me because okay, so like that only works if I don't know, maybe it's not just a nostalgic thing. Maybe like even younger people are aware of that song, I guess.
So you don't even have to be aware of the song. It is the beat of the music, as long
Oh,
as it's upbeat. Um, you don't have explicit language in it. So whenever you go into like a department store, they will have music playing. You don't
right.
even realize it. So whenever I had my yard sale, I played music because I read about the psychology of sound when shopping.
Hmm.
And hey, it worked really well for me. Again, it was a better environment at that last estate sale that I went to. And whenever I was like, why is this better? They were playing music. I'm not saying that that's the
Interesting.
sole thing, but it is one of the things that made it a better environment.
I can speak to the inverse of that experience. You know, it's you say it's really hard to have a retail in-person experience without music. And it happens so often that it's easy to overlook. But I can absolutely speak to the few times I've gone somewhere and there is no music that it is very off-putting. It
Yes.
feels very unnatural. I've
It's
been in like
apocalyptic.
it is. There's a supermarket around here that I don't know if they were having a power issue or something, but it wasn't fully lit, and there was no like music being piped in. And it did feel like you were there just to knife fight over the last can of beans. It was great. I'm glad you had a successful run. Excited to see your write up about all the stuff you got.
We just need to bring back Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise and do a remake of Cannonball Run. It
I'm
would,
telling you, man, you got some juice in that concept for sure.
it would be, honestly, it would be so good to do a whole movie around the characters that go to estate sales and yeah, it is interesting times ahead. All right, well that's this week's episode.
Well, thank you very much for sharing, Julie. Congrats on the haul.
Thanks, I'm so excited.
And thanks
And
for the tip.
I'll see you in the next week episode, Jake.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.